Back in 2019, while creating another task force, Governor Pritzker said, "I committed to working with lawmakers on both sides of the aisle to convene a task force where they can engage in conversations about how to reduce the burden of property taxes felt by homeowners." That was his quote. This property relief task force that was created, on which I sat and spent a number of hours of my time trying to do something to help the people in my district as well as the rest of the state, amounted to absolutely nothing. Not one bill has been called on the floor. Not one bill has passed, unfortunately, much less been called. I guess if it can't get called, it's not going to get passed. And so 2 years later, the governor hasn't led on this issue, and Illinois homeowners are still stuck with the bill. Their property tax bill, some of the highest in the nation. So here we are, mere weeks left in this legislative session, and after a year like we've had for our residents, with businesses being shut down, and the COVID-19 pandemic and what it's done to our economy, and residents and business owners just doing what they can to stay afloat, we've done nothing for property taxes, and yet they desperately need relief. So this was just another blue ribbon commission, some window dressing for which the Democrats can say, look, we're trying to take care of your problems, and they shove it aside once it's all said and done. We didn't even get a complete report out of it. We can still, and we must, enact real property relief for the people of the state of Illinois during this session. I will now turn it over to Blaine Wilhauer, Representative Blaine Wilhauer of Beecher City.
Thanks, Dan. Like I said, I'm State Representative Blaine Wilhauer. I represent communities like Effingham and Vandalia, Greenville, Centralia, and Salem, South Central Illinois. And you know, I would say that I'm happy to be here, but in reality, as some of these folks pointed out here, it's just been another wasted day here in Springfield, and we're tired of that. We came up here to do real work. You know, because the state of Illinois has got real problems that are really holding people back. You know, the level of work that has been done, serious work on serious issues up here is completely embarrassing. You know, there's no sense of urgency on the things that everybody knows are extremely important. You know, and it seems like every other day around here we see more Democrats from Chicago being perp walked, and there's nothing done on ethics reform. It's been 577 days since Louis Arroyo was arrested, and still we haven't gained the courage and the commitment here to do something so simple as banning legislators from lobbying. This is completely ridiculous. It's unacceptable. You know, we're not doing anything to put anti-corruption safeguards in place. You know, I think in the past 2 weeks, I'm pretty sure there's not a road left in the state of Illinois that hasn't been renamed, but nothing on ethics reform. You know, nothing on making sure that the legislative inspector general has the real power to watch over this General Assembly that has clearly shown itself to be susceptible to extreme corruption. You know, nothing on economic disclosures, nothing on any of this stuff. And this is low-hanging fruit. This is things that have to be done. You know, the voters have sent messages over and over that they expect us to restore credibility to this body here. We shouldn't be doing a single thing in this state without acting and putting the strongest anti-corruption safeguards in place in the country. If anybody needs it, it's right here in Illinois, because we will never restore the trust and the credibility to this place until we do that. So it's time to get to the real work that's important to the people of Illinois, so that you know, working families in this state are getting hammered over and over on every single front. So it's time to get to the real business here. We're ready to do that, and I'm going to turn it over to Representative Dan Swanson here.
Thank you, Representative Wilhauer. Good morning. I'm State Representative Dan Swanson of Alpha, Illinois. I represent the 74th District. Extends from the city of New Boston at the Mississippi River over to Princeton, Illinois, and then from way up north in Lee County down to southern parts of Knox County. Quite a diverse district. At the beginning of this week, I was joined by several colleagues to call for immediate hearings into the gross negligence at the LaSalle Veterans Home that led to the deaths of 36 of our nation's heroes. As I told you then, as a veteran of the U.S. Army, the Illinois Army National Guard, and former superintendent of the Henry County Veterans Assistance Commission, caring for our veterans is one of the most important charges we have in public service. The executive branch utterly abdicated their responsibility in how it handled the COVID-19 outbreak at LaSalle, as evidenced by the Inspector General report. As you can see, the Inspector General report is dated April 26th, 2012, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that here. Those of you who want to read it and do some of your own research, apparently it's too hard to find just by going to any of the websites. So I Googled it and was able to find a copy. This is one that was sent out at the same time they were sent to our press. The governor, Director Chaplavia, and the entire chain of command failed our veterans and their families. It is clear that we must dig deeper into this matter. IDVA, IDPH, and the governor's office must testify before the Veterans Affairs Committee so the full scope of these failures and any criminal or civil accountability can be determined. Yet this week, when all we passed were resolutions that saw a very short time on the floor, no hearings were scheduled to look into this. We're almost on the second week since this report came out. Yesterday, Veterans Affairs Committee Chairperson Stephanie Kifowit and I also sent a letter to Speaker Welch calling for the committee, and that's the Veterans Committee, to be expanded so we can get to the bottom of this failure. Currently, there are 2 Republicans and 5 Democrats on that committee. We've asked for growth up to 5 Republicans and 6 Democrats. We can continue on with our investigation into this matter. We cannot wait another week for action. Inaction does not solve problems. Every day we delay could endanger more lives. Actions need to be taken to get to the bottom of this grossly negligent failure and ensure it does not happen again. Our heroes and their families deserve nothing less. And I will now turn it over to my good friend and colleague, Representative Jeff Kiker.
Thank you, Dan. First and foremost, the most important thing that we've got to do is Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Thank you for all you do, and thank you for the wonderful world you create for us. I'm State Representative Jeff Kiker. I'm from Sycamore. In case you hadn't heard, life offers more in Sycamore. So DeKalb County, it's the county seat. We also represent portions of Kane and Boone County. What you're hearing today is a lot of frustration. The frustration that I have, that I'm seeing in my area, that I'm hearing from my constituents, is surrounding jobs and the lack of attention that we're giving jobs. This week, you saw us, in addition to what Leader Bourne said about being in for less than 10 minutes today, you saw us pass nothing but resolutions. We passed no consequential issues in the General Assembly, in the House anyway, this past week. 4 months during COVID, we were talking regularly about the need to come to Springfield to do business. And now that we're here, what do? No business. We have not only wasted the people's time, we have wasted effort on trying to come up with things to do that are falling on deaf ears. Jobs are the kitchen table issue that most families are concerned about right now in the state of Illinois. As your elected representatives, most importantly, what we can do is give to your family sound economic footing by providing an environment in our state economy that allows for robust job growth. And fortunately, we've seen some of that in my district with the expansion of Facebook and Ferrara Candy. This entire spring, we have failed to have meaningful conversations about what we can do to help spur that continued economic growth in the state of Illinois. And as a matter of fact, what we have seen from the governor is in his budget proposal, walking back those informed and specific economic incentives that goosed the economy into action in 2019 on a bipartisan basis. We have seen him walk back on these promises that will provide the needed platform to allow Illinois to continue to succeed. In a year where so many families have suffered grave illness, but also loss of jobs, those two items should be foremost in what we are addressing right now in the state of Illinois. And as you've seen, they just are not. It's time to have a real conversation about what we can do for the economy in the state of Illinois, what we can do to grow jobs and places of work, to allow Illinois' economy to become the behemoth that it's destined to be. If you look at our history, we have a proud and amazing state filled with companies and innovations that have come and impacted the entire world. We have the ability to do it now, and it's beyond time that we sit down and start having dialogues that will get us there once again.
Thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel. And while you're at it, please leave us a comment. Thank you for watching.